And now we reach the part of your story that matters most. Not the regret, not the stumble, not the fall, but the return, where you stop letting your past hold the pen. The part where you realize you still have breath in your lungs, you still have life in your soul, and you still have time to come back. Yes, you've made mistakes. Yes, you've said things, done things, gone places you wish you hadn't. The past only owns you if you let it. And you weren't created to be trapped in shame. You were created to grow from it, rise from it, and return through it. Because even your worst moment, when placed in the hands of sincere repentance, becomes a reason for elevation. That's the mercy of Allah. And if you think your story is too broken to fix, then let me remind you, the most shattered hearts have often become the most sincere, the most beloved, the most honored. Not because they were perfect, but because they were real. They stood up with trembling hearts, turned their faces back to Allah and whispered, "I want to come home." And Allah opened the way. Again and again, He is not looking for perfect people. He is looking for honest ones, for sincere ones, hearts that know they've gone astray, but still beat with love and longing for Him. That is your strength, not your perfection, but your return. No one can take that away from you. Not the people who remember your mistakes, not the inner critic who won't go quiet, not the voice in your head that says, "It's too late," because it's not. It's never too late as long as you're alive. Right now, this very moment, you can start again. You can lift your eyes and whisper to Allah, "Please forgive me. Please bring me back." And He hears that. He sees that. He responds to that. Don't underestimate what one moment of sincerity can do. It can erase years of darkness. It can melt walls you thought would never come down. It can restore a connection you thought was lost forever. That is the power of return. That is the mercy of your Lord. He doesn't define you by your fall. He defines you by your willingness to rise. And maybe you won't become perfect overnight. Maybe your journey will still be full of ups and downs. But now, you know the truth. The struggle is part of the return. The tears are part of the healing. The trying, the praying, the whispering of His name in your loneliest hours, those are all signs that you are not who you were. You're becoming someone new, someone sincere, someone stronger, softer, closer to Allah than ever before. And even if no one else sees it, even if the world still sees your past, Allah sees your return. And that's all that truly matters. So walk forward now, with all your imperfections, with all your emotions, with all your hope. Let this be the moment where your past ends and your return begins. You don't have to fix everything all at once. You just have to say, "I'm ready." That's the doorway, that's the light, that's the transformation. And if you ever feel like giving up again, remind yourself of this one truth: your past doesn't define you, your return does. So return often, return sincerely, return as many times as it takes. Because every time you do, your story becomes more beautiful, more powerful, more real. And one day, when you stand in front of Allah, it won't be your mistakes that define you. It'll be the sincerity of your return. So don't wait. Don't hold back. Believe the lie that you're too far gone. You're not. You never were. Return now, because you still can. And that return can rewrite your entire life. You know, there's something powerful about the human heart. It remembers pain in vivid color. You can forget 100 blessings. One mistake can sit with you for years. One wrong turn, one bad decision, one moment of weakness, and suddenly It defines you in your own eyes. You start telling yourself, that's who I am now. That's who I've always been. But that's not who you are. That's just a moment. That's just a chapter. And it doesn't have to be the last one. The truth is, Allah never abandoned you in your darkness. He saw you. He watched you break, fall and cry. And still, He kept your heart beating. Still, He gave you chance after chance. Not to remind you of your shame, but to show you His mercy. Because your past may explain where you've been. But it doesn't define where you're going. It doesn't determine how loved you are. And it certainly doesn't cancel your return. Think about the people who were once completely lost, buried in sin, drowning in choices they thought would destroy them. And yet they came back, quietly, slowly, tearfully. And do you know what happened? Allah didn't just forgive them. He honored them. He elevated them. He turned their pain into purpose. And maybe you haven't told anyone your full story. Maybe there are things you've done that still make your heart ache. But Allah knows. If you're still here, if you're still listening, it means He hasn't closed your story. He's writing a new chapter with your return. And that return doesn't need applause. It doesn't need validation from the world. It just needs to be sincere. It just needs to be real. You don't have to wait until you're completely healed. You don't need to fix every habit before you can come close. You just need to want Him. And if that desire is still inside you, even if it's buried under guilt or shame or fear, then you are already being pulled back. Because Allah never turns away a heart that returns sincerely. Not once. Not ever. So don't tell yourself it's too late. Don't hold on to the version of you that hurt or sinned or slipped. That version was meant to teach you, not trap you. That version was meant to humble you, not haunt you. And maybe, just maybe, that version of you, the one that made the mistakes, is the reason you're becoming softer now, more sincere, more real. And that's a gift. That's mercy in disguise. So don't run from it. Use it. Let it break your pride. Let it clean your heart. Let it remind you that you don't want to live another day distant from your Creator. Because the peace you're looking for, it's not in erasing the past. It's in returning. It's in knowing that no matter how long you've been away, Allah is still near, still ready, still welcoming you with more kindness than you believe you deserve. That's who He is. And maybe this time you'll return differently. Not out of fear, out of love. Not because someone pressured you, but because your heart finally feels ready. That kind of return, that's the one that lasts. That's the one that transforms you. And if you're wondering where to begin, just begin. Right where you are, right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just be sincere. Talk to Him. Sit in silence. Let your tears speak. If words won't come, ask Him to pull you back. Ask Him to forgive you. Ask Him to make you better than before. That's how change starts. Not with perfection, but with truth. And your truth is this: you are not your past. You are not your sins. You are not your lowest moment. You are the servant who returned. You are the heart that chose sincerity. You are the soul that still believes in mercy. And that's more powerful than anything you've ever done wrong. So walk forward now. Don't look back. Let today be the day you rewrite your story with Allah, not by erasing the pain, but by transforming it into purpose. Not by pretending to be perfect, by showing up sincerely. That's your power. That's your strength. That's the kind of return that truly defines you. There's something about regret that lingers quietly in the background of our lives isn't there. Like a voice that shows up just when you start to feel better, whispering, "Don't forget who you were." It creeps into your moments of peace, reminding you of old mistakes, bad decisions, things you wish you could erase. And sometimes that voice becomes louder than hope. It convinces you that what you did back then has already sealed your future. It makes you feel like you've disqualified yourself from being loved, from being close to Allah, from being good again. But that voice is not the truth. It's not from your Lord. Because the real truth is this: even the worst sin doesn't have the power to lock you out of mercy. Not if you return. Not if your heart still yearns to be forgiven. If that longing is still alive in you, even buried beneath guilt and pain, then hope is still alive too. But that's the beautiful thing about returning to Allah. It's never too late. The door never closes unless you decide not to knock. And maybe right now you're standing at that door. Maybe you've been standing there for years, too ashamed to knock, too scared to hope, too broken to believe that Allah could still want you. But here's what you need to understand. The people who return after falling are some of the most beloved to Him. Not because they lived perfect lives, but because they refused to give up. Because even after the darkness, they believed in the light. Even after sin, they believed in forgiveness. Even after wandering for years, they still turned their face toward Him and said, "Ya Allah, I'm ready." And maybe you think your story is too messy. Maybe you're haunted by something no one else knows about. But Allah knows. And He still calls you back. He still gives you signs. He still brings reminders to your heart. And sometimes those reminders come disguised as pain, the sleepless nights, the ache in your chest, the silent prayers, the feeling that something is missing. These aren't signs that you're lost. They're signs that you're being guided. Because even guilt, it leads you back to Allah, is a form of mercy. Even tears, when they fall out of sincerity, are a form of worship. And even the heaviness you carry is a bridge, if it makes you turn back. So, don't run from it. Don't suppress it. Let it lead you home. Real courage isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about standing in front of Allah and saying, "I don't have it all together. I still want to be close to you." That's powerful. That's purity. That's sincerity. And if that's what's inside your heart right now, even just a piece of it, then you are already on the path. You are already walking home. And every step counts. Even the ones no one sees, even the silent ones, even the slow ones, because Allah sees every movement of your heart. He hears every unspoken prayer, and He responds, not with rejection, but with love, with forgiveness, with a chance to begin again. So walk away from the lies that say it's too late. Walk away from the guilt that's been weighing you down. You don't have to carry your past forever. You don't have to be who you were. You can choose who you become. And Allah will walk with you every step of the way, if you're sincere, if you're willing, if you're real. So be real with Him now. Be honest. Tell Him what you've done. Tell Him what you regret. Tell Him how badly you want to change. You don't need perfect words, just a sincere heart. Just an open heart. And the moment you do, something begins to shift. The weight begins to lift. And you realize you're not defined by what happened before. You're defined by the return. The decision to come back. The moment you say, "I don't want to stay distant anymore." And that moment could be now. This very second. So take it. Own it. Whisper it. Let your heart be seen by the one who already knows everything and still loves you. Your past is a page, it's not the whole book. You still have time. You still have a story to write. And the most beautiful part is yet to come. So keep walking, keep believing, keep returning. Because your past doesn't define you, your return does. Have you ever laid in bed at night and wished you could go back in time just to undo one moment, one decision, one conversation, one mistake that changed everything? Have you ever stared at the ceiling with a heart full of regret, whispering to yourself, "What have I done?" Maybe you feel like your past is a shadow that won't stop following you, like no matter how much you try to move forward, you keep hearing the echo of who you used to be. And maybe it's been years. Maybe people around you have forgotten, but you haven't. Maybe you've been wearing a smile in public while carrying a storm in your chest. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you'll never be truly clean again. Here's something you need to hold on to. Your past does not define you. Your return does. Allah does not judge you by your darkest day. He looks at your today. He looks at your effort. He looks at your sincerity. The world may label you by your mistakes, but your Lord names you by your return. There are people who did unthinkable things, people whose lives were buried in sin, and yet they became some of the most beloved to Allah. Not because they were perfect, but because they turned back, because they owned their story and chose to rewrite the ending. You see, even the deepest stain can be wiped clean. Even the most broken heart can be healed. That's the power of mercy. That's the promise of return. And sometimes the people who've fallen the hardest rise the highest because they know what it means to be distant from Allah. And they know how precious it is to come back. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's the journey you're about to take. Maybe the fact that you're even listening to this right now is proof that your return is beginning. That's not by chance. That's not a coincidence. That's a moment of mercy tailored for you. Allah sees your pain. He knows your shame. He's not surprised by your past. He already knew. And still, He brought you here. Still, He preserved your heart. Still, He gave you breath, another day, another chance. So don't let guilt chain you. Don't let the whispers convince you that you're too far gone. That's the lie. The truth is, your return matters more than anything you've ever done. And real courage, real strength, it's not in never falling. It's in standing up again. It's in saying, I was wrong. I still believe I can come back. That moment of return, even if it's quiet, even if it's full of tears, even if it's done alone with trembling hands and a broken voice, that moment is more beloved to Allah than you can imagine. That's the moment everything changes. That's the moment your past stops controlling your future. And yes, people might still talk. People might still remember. But Allah wipes the slate clean. Allah sees the new you. And His opinion is the only one that truly matters. So walk away from the guilt. Step into the mercy. You don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to be sincere. You just need to take the first step. That step can happen now in your heart. Right here. Right as you listen. Whisper your return. Speak to Him from that hidden place inside you that still hopes, still aches, still believes. Because no matter how far you've gone, the door is still open. The light is still on. And the one who created you is still waiting, not with anger, not with rejection, but with love, with kindness, with the promise of a fresh start. The future is still unwritten. The ink isn't dry. You still have